Yeah, it's really interesting. Despite losing the first leg at home to Liverpool and the second leg away to Villa, PSG got by both of them, and they could make it a hat-trick of triumphs, obviously, against English sides if they get past the Arsenal in the semi-finals. Here's some interesting stats. Games lost in the Champions League this season. Arsenal won, Inter Milan won, Barcelona twice, PSG 5 times. So let's find out why on earth they seem to, the Parisians are everybody's favourites to go all the way. As we say, a very good morning to French football expert Julien Laurent. Julien, a very good morning. Bonjour, mon ami.
Hello, boys. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Julien.
Julien, listen, the first thing I would say to you, I spoke to you in Paris for the Villa game when we're having a chat. And on the morning, we had a great discussion with Emmanuel Petit. Manny was coming to see us for an hour. And he had a lovely quote there where he actually said the star of the PSG is the team.
Yeah.
But he said to me, Julien, it was fascinating listening to him. He just said there's a completely different aura around PSG, the PSG team this year within France, not just within the PSG supporters. He reckoned they're a more likeable team, they're a more likeable outfit, and I think it's down to the fact that they don't have any out-and-out superstars. They are a team, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. And I know it sounds quite simplistic, right, for all the listeners and everybody watching, but it is the case. Maybe on paper, if you have Neymar, Messi and Mbappe as your front three, you think that you're a better team than if you have Dembele, Kvaratskhelia and Désiré Doué or Barcola, whoever plays tonight. But actually, you've seen that they've moved away from the kind of bling-bling policy that they used to have, trying to sign all those marquee signings and superstars and big egos to something more collective, more about the cohesion, the unity of the team, really. And this is what this team is about. And I think that's why people like this team more than any other team maybe before, even the one from Ibrahimovic or Ibrahimovic or Thiago Silva or Messi, Neymar, etc., etc. And then the football played is also brilliant. So I think this is also a reason why people like this team.
Yeah, probably for the first time, Julien. I mean, look, PSG have been hunting this trophy down now for an awful long time. This has been the one trophy that has eluded them, and they're desperate to win it. And I think as this tournament's progressed, we've all seen how good PSG are. In that little second half period against Aston Villa, they were on the ropes. They were suffering a little bit that night. There was a moment where we wondered whether the tide was gonna switch a little bit. Have we seen perhaps something in them over the last couple of weeks? Obviously, the game against Nice very different a few days ago. But have we seen something recently that might give Arsenal a little bit more room for optimism?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting, that second half of Villa Park, because I think they took the game for granted and they took their eyes off it and switched off in a way. This is a young team and like Ali knows, because now he spent half of his time in Paris because he's there all the time, for PSG games in the Champions League. He's got his canteen where he goes for food. He every time I come, he's like, "Oh, Jules, the steak for lunch today was amazing." So all of that, we are a bit arrogant, especially when you're young and when you're good, and when everybody says how good you are and how great you look and all of that. And I think there was a bit of that. There was a bit of that complacency against Villa in the second half, where they thought we 2-0 up, then 2-1 up at halftime, but still cruising on aggregate. And they thought it's okay now, we can just maybe pass the ball and control it. And actually, it doesn't work like that. You can do that in Ligue 1 maybe, because you're still so much better than everybody else, but you can't really do that in the Champions League. So I think it was a good lesson to learn for them from that Villa Park second half performance, that you have to be 100% pretty much all the time in the Champions League.
Julien, it's interesting, man, and you're absolutely right. I do love Paris, and I've enjoyed Paris a couple of times this year. But you look at the PSG team, and the main talking point is that the front three, they're fantastic and a wonderful midfield. However, mate, I think there's a big difference when Marquinhos plays, but also I think they might have the best two fullbacks in the world. I really do. I genuinely think they might have the two best fullbacks in the world.
Yeah, I think Hakimi and Mendes, especially since the turn of the year, like the team, really. There's clearly a difference between before the Man City game where we were together and after the Man City game where everything seemed to click really there, or just a bit before that. But Nuno Mendes and Hakimi have been outstanding. And really, there's many keys in the game tonight. One of them will be the two fullbacks for each team against the two wingers of each team. So for us, Kelly Timber, Louis Skelly against Doué or Barcola. We're not really sure. It should be Doué that starts on the right-hand side for PSG. And then Hakimi against Martinelli. And maybe more than all of the others, Saka against Nuno Mendes. And if Nuno Mendes can do the job that he did on Salah against Saka tonight, I think PSG will have a big chance of winning.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a mouth-watering prospect. It really is. Do Arsenal take anything from the fact they've already beaten them?
I don't think so. It was just PSG were a complete different team back then. 1st of October, Dembele was left at home because he had a disagreement with Luis Enrique. Désiré Doué, one of his first start in the Champions League, or one of his first start even for the whole season on the right-hand side at the Emirates that night. Out of his depth at that time, now a much better player, maybe one of PSG's best player currently. So it was just a complete, you can look at it, and Arsenal scored on set pieces in that game, the Saka free kick, which is going to be another of those keys that we just mentioned. And PSG are still not much better on defensive set pieces than they were at the time, so that's something that Arsenal can exploit. But apart from that, really, PSG are so much better than they were back in October. In everything they do, the pressing, the counter-pressing, with the ball, without the ball, individually, collectively. I'm not sure winning that game for Arsenal makes a difference tonight, like 6 months on.
Can't wait, Julien. Julien, you up for meeting me next Mercredi for a steak free?
Of course. I'll be there, mon ami.
Top man, Julien. Enjoy it, pal. I'll see you next week. Look after yourself.
See you. Bye.
Coming up, here's an interesting one from one extreme to the other. Could 100 men beat a gorilla in a fight? I don't know where this has come from.
That's what we do here at talkSPORT. We make the news and we break the news.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.